agenda.
Okay.
And go for it. And you guys, you can feel free to sit up here close.
Yeah, we'll sit back here until we know we like you.
Okay, fair enough.
It's not church, Dr. Dale.
So we are being live streamed, and this is the camera and the microphone right there, and we'll let Lauren take it over.
Okay, awesome. I don't exactly know what I'm doing, but sure. So first, introductions, and we're just gonna go around. Do you want everybody in the room to go? Just up here.
Well.
Okay. Well, I'm Lauren Miller Nelson, born and raised here. Have a real estate company in town, and excited to get this going. We've been working on this for a few years, so we're really happy that everybody's here. Happy to get this going. Thank you to POAC for being here also, and everything that they've done along the way. They've been a huge, huge help to get this going, and huge thank you to Sheila for stepping in kind of in the middle of the mess and really getting us organized. So I will turn it over to Mary Kate.
Okay, I'm Mary Kate Demers, and I actually graduated from Kearney. I went here a few years and then moved away, and then I came back and I'm raising my family here. So we've been here for, 14 years now, and I'm really honored to be serving on this committee. I think we can accomplish a lot of great things.
My name's Adam. I'm the senior pastor at First United Methodist Church here in town. Have been here 4 years almost. It'll be 4 years this summer. Our church was involved in hosting, just providing the site and some of the support for the School Spirit event in the December of 2019, and had a lot of great experiences there. And then for a variety of reasons, including a pandemic, kind of saw the momentum dissipate, and excited to see that pick up again. I've got 2 kids in the district in kindergarten and 3rd grade. So just excited, like everybody, to get things rolling.
My name is Jamie Grayson, Executive Director, founder of POAC Succeed. Had really a great opportunity to partner with the school district about almost 2.5 years ago. We've seen a lot of growth in our program. I think it's something that you all as a community should be very proud of, the students that we work with. We get an opportunity to see things that sometimes others don't see, and hear things that others don't hear, which is amazing, because it provides hope for the future of the leaders of your all's community, and I think it's something you all should be very proud of. So.
My name is Marissa Grayson. I am Jamie's niece, last name there. I am our program facilitator at POAC Succeed, and I'm originally from St. Joseph. I now live up the street in Liberty, so I'm kind of close to you all, but at the arm's distance a little bit, but I'm excited to be on this committee and give my input where it's needed.
I am Terry Guillot-Botts. I am a longtime community member. We have been here since the early 80s. I am also a teacher, minister, and I do a lot of community activities, those kind of things. We also have raised our children in the district. They've graduated from here, and our grandchildren. So we've got a lot of roots here. So I am excited to be a part of this.
I'm Sheila Ernzen, and I'm the city administrator, and what I'm doing is being the liaison between this advisory committee and then helping relay what you guys are coming up with to the board and the mayor. So that's my role.
I'm Meredith Cole. My family moved here in 1977. I taught in the district, raised my kids here. Now I have grandchildren. Had Randy as a student over there. And I'm happy to be a part of this group.
I'm Eduardo Garcia, the owner of La Fuente. We've been here 23 years already, and I'm really excited to be here and to help with this project.
I'm Dale Sanson. I've lived here about 30 years, and I remember when we didn't have a stoplight, and we were just a little bitty dwelling, and we've grown tremendously since then. So Randy asked me to participate. Looking forward to it. Help the community.
Jennifer?
I'm Jennifer Kopp. I'm Assistant Superintendent for the school district, and I have been in charge of our DEI committee, which is now called Bulldog Cares that's the name of our DEI task force. And I'm excited to see that the city engaged in this work, and I'm excited to be a part of it.
I'm Lacey Staub. I own Blue Heron's small event space across the street. My family moved here about 15 years ago, so both my kids went through the Kearney school system and on, and I'm really excited to be a part of this.
Ray White, Director of Communications for Kearney School District, and this year I am a student, and I am here to provide support in whatever way I possibly can. I believe in the work, and we can do good things.
Awesome. Randy, are you lost?
I'm here for support. Randy Poe had the pleasure to serve the residents of Kearney as their mayor. So I appreciate each and every one of you volunteering your time and efforts here, and really excited to see this finally move forward, and looking forward to this paying dividends and being a beautiful thing for our community.
Awesome. Well, thank you, everybody. Sheila, do we need to go over this resolution?
I just want to make sure that we all are very aware of the purpose, that the purpose is to be an advisory committee to the board and the mayor, and that your role is to give advice to the board and the mayor about how they can better encourage and nurture a safe, welcoming, and supportive community atmosphere within city limits of Kearney. And hopefully, of course, that will expand outside of city limits, but their role is to take care of city limits inside the city proper. And so that's really what your focus is.
Perfect.
I think that's helpful.
Yeah, that is very helpful. Yeah, I didn't know if we needed to read the whole thing or. Okay, awesome. So next on the agenda is logo branding materials.
Yeah, I gave you all a printed out packet, but I also have, I'm gonna do a screen share. So Kearney High School, the graphic design students, completely impressed by them.
Wow.
Yeah, they're amazing.
And I was so shocked, but Mrs. Carmack gave them an assignment to, they had to design 5 logos, each of them, for the week, and they will not be in any way, like they're getting their grade for it, so if we can't select one, or, but basically what I'm asking you guys to do is, knowing what the Spirit Committee, the purpose of it is, what the board's intentions are, in promoting a safe and nurturing, welcoming environment. There are all of these different logos that you can possibly choose from. I also asked if you see something but you want it to change a little bit, the student is willing to tweak designs for us.
Okay, awesome.
And so.
And this will be on the city website, pamphlets we have out, things like that?
It would be on all the material, yes, and on the website, and if we do social media posts, things like that. And, when I talked to them, I kind of explained that we are trying to differentiate. We want to make sure that we include everyone from the city. We don't want somebody to say, oh, I don't have kids in the school district, this doesn't apply to me. And so we want our oldest residents all the way down to our young people that don't have children yet to know that we are welcoming them into this conversation, that we want to hear from them. And so they were thinking of that when they were doing these designs, and also trying to make sure that they weren't offending somebody and making them say, I don't want a part of that. Right. And so super thoughtful of how they did this. And I can make, obviously, I just screenshot and cut and pasted. Some of them have a bottom, so if you guys want me to pull one up, you know, I can show you the whole logo.
Wow, they did great work.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did a good job. There's a lot of good options.
On the second page, top row, second one from left to right. Can you pull that one up for me?
By
All the people
Nathan
holding
Freeman.
hands.
By Nathan Freeman?
When I pulled it up on this computer, it came up in
Yeah,
a different.
Nathan Freeman.
Nathan Freeman?
Spirit 3, yeah, is that the one?
No, that one's similar.
The similar,
Ah.
go to the very first, on the very top, maybe.
I think I have to go to the bottom because I think it came the
There it
Yeah,
is.
there
way.
it is, that one right there. Can you pull that one up?
Okay.
Yeah, do you have any suggestions on, you know, just from past
No,
experience?
that one jumped out to me. One being it's inclusive for all ages. It looks at different shades. I mean, I think, to me, I like the fact they're holding hands, so they're together. It tells a story. You know, they say pictures tell a story. I think just that capture of that image right there tells a story. It's generational by looking at it.
It shows a lot of diversity.
Mhm.
It was one that I picked out as well, too. I really like that.
Does anybody think it's an issue that it doesn't have spirit in it? Do we think we need that?
I mean, if you can make tweaks, I guess, I mean.
Right.
It'd be kind of cool to see how it says Kearney going up on
Spirit
the
was
leg
on.
going down. It said Spirit there. That would be nice. Because I think if you do that and then you take this one here, and then on page 4, Isabel Wagner made 2 that are very similar. So you could put it on different t-shirts and kind of tweak the logo a little bit, but it still be the same. So kind of interchange the two depending on where you put it, if that makes sense.
This one?
Yeah,
Yeah, that
yeah.
one. It looks almost the exact same.
Yeah,
Just
It does.
without the.
it's not quite as detailed.
Mhm.
Yeah.
This one, I think that's the other one.
That one would probably be easier to put on everything,
Right.
to print, things like that.
Right.
I like Isabel Wagner's, all of her designs. I was kind of drawn to the third one. But it's not
The
very
hand.
With the
That
hand.
one.
Yeah.
I like that one.
I like that one, too.
As an accountant, I always think, you know, black and white is cheaper than. But that's only if you're printing.
That's right. Yeah, so that could be something good about going with the other one that's like that, that Isabel Wagner did, that also could be printed in just black and white.
You know, when I think of designs, I think like even with my logo on my sweatshirt, I want something that's gonna make someone stop and ask me, tell me more about what does that mean? No one knows what POAC means. That was by design, because it allows me to tell them. You know, as I look at this image on the screen here, well, if I'm wearing a t-shirt and that image is on there or wherever, that's interesting. Tell me about that. That's an opportunity to share. That's kind of where my mind goes. I always envision something on a t-shirt, whether it be a small business or whatever it may be. It's like, all right, what's going to grab my attention and make me ask more questions? All these students did a phenomenal job.
Yeah, they did a great job.
Phenomenal job.
Makes it difficult to choose.
I like even the one from Cody, the K Spirit on page 5, far right, top right. It's kind of simple, but at the same time, I mean,
The heart.
That reminds me of
this
Yeah, it
one.
does kind of remind me of Mid-Continent.
yeah.
You know
Mid-Continent
what?
Library.
Mid-Continent Library, you're right. But it kind of gives that scholastic feel though.
So, as far as the one that you guys were looking at on Nathan Freeman's, my concern, I agree, it is very visually striking. My concern is that it's a fairly, I guess if I'm being honest, the word I would use is it's on the nose. It's a little, in as much as it feels like it's defining diversity in a certain way that that I feel like we've gone beyond that, I guess, or we should be going beyond that, because it's defining diversity by appearance, in essence. And I'm not sure I'm comfortable with that. I would also, to be honest, I would be uncomfortable with, like, again, I think using what are now considered to be some fairly stereotypical imagery of people, it's, again, maybe not necessarily the best direction to go in 2023, in my opinion, but.
I think it depends, because I know a lot of people who want to celebrate their own culture, and they want that seen, and they want that appreciated.
I agree, but again, I just think we have to be careful about that and be conscious, I guess.
So I guess my question back would be, and this is for the group, is how do we define the word in itself? How do you define diversity? I'm curious.
I think we're all gonna define that in a different way.
Is it, and that's not, you're right. I mean, I think if we have to define the word, we're gonna have 20 different definitions in this room here, probably. So I get what, I totally understand where you're coming from with your point.
And just from a, and again, I think from a graphic perspective, when something, an image that's similar, but to me is more interpretable, is something like, right, the one on page 4, upper left corner, that from Isabel Wagner.
Yeah.
To me, that is conveying the same concept, but in a more esoteric way, a little more, less concrete, maybe.
See, and I would see it differently. I see that image as a person of color, personally, and that would probably make me, I'd be interested in how you look at it, but I don't know if it's, because typically when you hear the diversity word, people equate it to color, race, or whatever. I don't see it like that. But when I see that imagery, it may turn you off, because the imagery is all people of color in a circle. So it can be exclusive to some communities. For the record, I don't even like the word diversity because of how it's taken a shape of its own liking, it's kind of all over the place.
That's one I was gonna bring up.
That there has a lot of words in it.
Yeah, there's another one that's similar.
Alex Kinsler, maybe? On the last page?
On the last page.
Yeah.
Is it this one?
Yeah, that one.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
That one, or like one by Donovan Bartlett. I can't quite tell what it is in Spirit 3. Donovan
It's
Bartlett.
the KEC logo. That's the tree from the KEC.
Oh, okay. Okay, so we don't want to use it. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I guess I would want to know what is the purpose of this committee? Because to me, the one by Nathan Freeman, you're talking one type of diversity. So what is it?
So the purpose is to try to create and encourage and nurture a safe, welcoming, and supportive community atmosphere.
When I first look at that one, I love that one. But I do, like, part of my definition of diversity, I guess, would also be age difference, and I don't really see it, or ability difference.
Ability or disability.
Yes, ability, disability, and I don't see that there. It's a great one, but I think maybe we need to go a little more general.
I think it can also be a lot of differences that you can't just see
Right.
like that,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Like there's a lot of things that we can't just
Because
see.
how can we cover all of them?
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
You're gonna leave something out.
We're gonna leave someone out.
There's one by Kellen Brogman, sorry.
What page?
Page 3, it's the second one in, it's actually either one of them. One looks like a compass and the other one looks like a disc almost. But if you change the colors to maybe primary and secondary colors, and then maybe add more triangles of skin tone shades. I think that could kind of encompass everything a little bit. And I know we want to go beyond just race, but maybe, and then the next one or the one before, I'm sorry, Sheila,
No worries.
with the disc around it,
That
if
one.
you add, if you add a second disc on the inside and change the colors to just maybe sporadic colors all around, would that encompass everything? And then again, adding spirit, there's Kearney on the K, and then adding spirit on the K. I mean, I don't know if the goal is to add more color, because on my notes, I also put make everything purple and just kind of stick to the standard Kearney color, or put everything in all colors, and then have that conversation around what the different colors may mean to whomever. Because for me, I do look at these and I would love to see shades of skin tone, because that's what would trigger me to have the conversation. That's what applies to me. Whereas somebody who has a disability, I know all disabilities have their own color or ribbon or whatever it may be. They may see a different color and say, this is what Kearney Spirit means to me. Does that make sense to anyone else? So I think kind of to what we've all hint on a little bit is, if we're gonna go colorful, I think it needs to be all kinds of colors. Other than that, I would say leave it black and white and then have the conversation. But that's just,
How does everybody, there's a lot of like hands, like holding hands, holding things. How does anybody have like strong opinions on any of those? Because that kind of takes.
So that one there by Isabella Wagner, the one just below your cursor, Sheila. That one stuck out to me immediately when I first reviewed these about a week ago. Because to me, I mean, we have a very diverse group of volunteers here in this community that touch our community in whole different parts of our community, right? Bill could be touching a part of the community than you do, Lauren, and so that's where that kind of sticks out to me is, it's all different colors of people in our community, and you could put, however you want that to affect you or not, or mean something to you, but that's, and I couldn't remember the other one, Sheila, I told you that I haven't seen it yet, but I like kind of that holding hand. To me, it's it's a good feeling for me.
I mean, if we're gonna go that direction, Ethan, one by Ethan Kevney.
Right under it.
The one right, the first one?
Quite striking.
You talking about the very first one?
There's spirit and then there's two hands that are reaching out.
Yes.
This one.
yeah, that's not the one.
Yeah, I mean, I think that has real potential. I don't think it's there yet. I think he would need to work on it some more, but I do think that is a very striking image.
What if you put the word, I would say enlarge the K and the word spirit, maybe a little bit, and put those in different colors.
Yeah, I think, we can send this back to him and say, give us some options. Like I'm doing a client connected project with some of Andy's kids right now, and what I told him is show me options, and make your case, and so we can send it back and say, we'd like to see 3 variations on this, that indicate diversity or inclusiveness, which is, I think, one of the reasons why I really like this, and we're with Dr. Miller as part of our leadership team, we're really focusing on inclusion, right? What does that mean to the district, and in a systemic kind of way, and I really like how that's what this is about. It's about making Kearney a nurturing, inclusive place to live, work, play, and thrive.
So I would say between Isabel and Ethan's, then, like we all have kind of come to an agreement on Isabel Wagner's Spirit 1 and Ethan Ethan's Spirit 5, the two that are right next to each other, and then decide between their edits if they have any.
All right, say that one more time, please.
Isabel Wagner's Spirit 1, that's what she has it labeled as, and then Ethan Kevney's Spirit 5 are the two that we all have said and agreed that we like.
Okay. And so I'm going to ask them if they will give us some more variations of both of those. Do you have any specific things you want to ask them for?
I like the idea on Elizabeth Wagner's to have on the other kind of leg going down of the K spirit on there.
And I'm not sure if you guys realize, but that K with the circle, that's the city's logo,
city
which
logo,
is
yeah.
why they incorporated
I
that.
figured.
Yeah, I like that.
I like color.
And can I, this is maybe a dumb question, but why spirit as the name?
Because that's just what the board all those years ago named it.
Okay.
And it was because that was the, as I understand it, you know, Mayor.
You're doing a great job.
I read a lot of minutes.
I was involved originally with the school district's initiative with the Department of Justice that was, took place over a couple of days at the Methodist Church. And I had the pleasure of, I had a couple dozen, we all had a couple dozen kids, some of the different volunteers to help there. And it was kind of the name of the program, the initiative there. And so I felt like, I was exposed and learned all these stressors and issues that the kids in the community felt comfortable sharing with us. And so I thought, hey, this isn't a school district issue, this is a community issue. It's going to take the community in whole to make a positive impact here. And so that's when we started our process, and then COVID happened. But so right, wrong, or indifferent, that's how the Spirit Committee name was established.
I can help you out a little bit. It stood for, so it's an acronym: Student Problem Identification and Resolution of Issues Together, SPIRIT. So whether we use the acronym or not, I think what Randy's saying is we wanted to preserve this is our deal as a whole community, so we're going to come together and identify problems and solve them together.
And at the time back then, Rita Valencia, who helped us facilitate that for the school, she mentioned that there is another program, it's called City Spirit,
Right.
using that acronym as well, that you do it with the city, and it's kind of the same program with the city instead of with students. And so that's.
But it's not a very effective acronym if it's hard to remember and you can't say it. Yeah.
It's like core values.
Right, that's right. Unless you have 4 quarterbacks, you don't have any, right?
That is true.
That's what I'm saying.
What do you think?
Which one?
On the Isabel one, the one that he picked, and also the one that Ethan, like put it together, the hands and then the other one on top.
Same color scheme, but again with the hands.
So like they're holding up all the people?
Yeah.
Is that, okay.
So basically moving the hands to the bottom of Isabel Wagner's.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe they could come, then we could work on it together.
That might be, I kind of like that.
That would be
A little
fun.
collaboration.
Okay.
Well, again, that's a good experience for them.
Yeah, it would
That's how it actually works.
Yeah.
That's right.
Design sheets, you have to work together, so.
I think it'd be interesting to see what those two come up with that thought, just to,
I
And
like
just,
that.
so Isabel's the color people is the one that of Isabel's, because I think they both look like Spirit One.
Oh, they both are,
to
you're
me.
right.
So, okay, perfect. Those two that are right next to each
Yeah,
other.
they are.
All right, fantastic. Okay.
All right,
Dr. Rubik,
yeah, they're awesome.
Yeah, well done.
Okay, next, community survey. Does everybody know what we're doing with this, or do we need to explain that first?
Yes, you need to explain
Okay,
that first.
awesome. So the community survey we've worked on for quite a while, and this is kind of the first step of getting the community involved, right? And the first step is going to be data collection. So figuring out how the community as a whole feels about things. And we've thought of several ways that we can get this out through the city water bill, on the city website. We have different people who are willing to send it out through their organizations. I know the school district talked about possibly sending it out through Peach Jar also, so that we can hit all of the different demographics, not just people who have kids in the school district, but we can make sure that everybody has a chance to get this out there. I know we were gonna also print them and take them to the senior center. I'll run them up there for some seniors to fill them out so that we can make sure that their voice is heard also, because they may not love to do it with technology. So we'll try to make sure that we can get it out to as many people as possible. We talked about having this open for, you know, a 2 to 3 week period to collect all the data, and then we can take that, get back together, and really come up with a game plan of our forums that we're gonna do and how we're gonna run those. So these are the questions that we came up with. Everybody can kind of go through there, read through them, and then give feedback, thoughts, and if you have any other suggestions on how to get it out there.
And one of the other things that I did not print, I had already printed these before we kind of made a change. One of the questions that we added was, are you a resident?
Yes or no?
We kind of have it set up right now, like where it would cut off if you said no. But then I was thinking, and I'd love to hear what you guys think, like maybe we just want to segregate so we can see how other people view our community and versus how residents view our community. I don't know, just a thought.
Yeah, I think it also depends on how we end up saying that we're gonna get it out there. If we are sending it on water bills, Peach Jar, you know, the way that we're doing it, it's only going to go to our residents then. When we had that discussion, we were gonna have it was kind of around Oktoberfest time. So there was gonna be, you know, QR codes or things out in the community that people, so if they're out at restaurants or, you know, things like that, then yeah, maybe we wanna have that in there. If we are strictly only sending it to residents, then we may not even need that question.
If the school district's sending it out, there are a lot of people in the district that don't live inside city limits.
Okay.
So what I would
Yeah.
encourage you all to think about is, you're gonna be asking people these questions, and so whenever I'm doing this kind of thing, I say, what are you prepared to do in response? It's fine to ask the questions, but are you prepared to take action based on what you learned? So that's what I would encourage you to think about, is how are the responses to these questions going to guide the work that you all do?
I believe that's the purpose, right,
Mm-hmm.
of figuring out what our challenges and issues are, so we know where to start and how to be effective. A good foundation, a good basis to start, see what people's concerns are. I hope this tool isn't just to figure out what those concerns are, and you know, I'll say that the city's committed, we're financially committed, we're partnering with POAC, and we want to know what our residents' concerns and issues are, so we can effectively address them. So yeah, I think it's a very fair expectation, and making sure that we're prepared for that, right? I appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's just giving some thought as to what is the, and then.
Because I would anticipate it's going to create some challenging conversations.
And I think like you guys brought up, that's kind of the point, right?
Right. Yeah,
I
I mean, through tough conversations, growth happens. And I think understanding the platform of what we're trying to accomplish as a unit, we welcome that within control. It'd be kind of unexpected not to have it. But, I think the whole purpose of this is to identify what are the pain points, then collectively figure out a positive solution to move beyond the pain points. It's not going to be a one and done. Let's be realistic with it, but this is a good first step. So.
Do you guys send out, have you been part of these kind of surveys before? Okay, and so this is kind of the questions you guys.
We use a lot of this sometimes with the schools that we work with, just to capture some data. It's a starting point.
Okay.
And then we work it from there. So,
okay.
We try to simplify it. I think having only 5 questions, 6 questions, I think it is. I think that's the right amount of questions to pique my interest, because if there's more than that,
Right.
I may not answer the survey. So to capture it, we have to ask some of the, the right questions up front just to get the conversation started. I think the beauty of what we're trying to do is going to come in the town hall meetings that we have. The public forums are, the structures that we've discussed and what we want to see, and just hearing. Being to his point, I think he's right. Being okay, being understanding that the responses are going to come our way, that, how will you accept or respond? I think you remove all emotions and have a conversation. That's the only way we should approach this, I think.
I think having a group understanding of what success looks like is also very important. I think having a survey is a success, and then also letting people who answer it know this is where we are on our meter. This is where we are on our meter. We're not going to get to a successful overall outcome until we have people here having these conversations, or until we have an event where everyone, if we were to send this out again, everyone says, no, I felt pretty welcome. I understand that it's not going to be 100%, but I still felt welcome while I was there, whatever that may be. So that may not be a tonight conversation, but once we start getting these back and have some action steps to the answers, I think that's something that we all will have to understand amongst ourselves as well.
I think one good way to be able to measure success is to have the data at the beginning, and then to be able to ask it again.
Yeah.
Multiple times,
Yep.
probably.
Yeah.
And see if the needle is moving at all.
Do you think the one question, that how do you feel those outside your city view your community? Do you think that's going to leave people saying, well, it depends? Are you talking about, do we view it as welcoming? Because I think that they could view it different ways depending on, I'm wondering if maybe it needs to be more than one question, and if not more than one question, does that need to be more specific?
I think it's kind of hard to have that how question with then a scaled rating, right? Like, that's not.
Maybe you define, maybe you say, instead of how do you feel they view your community, maybe you say, you define it more, do you feel that people outside your community see you as welcoming or inclusive? I don't know.
And why? And why?
We could add an and why to all of these, couldn't we?
Yeah, I almost think we should, just looking through this as
Just not
tonight.
make the and why, maybe it's not mandatory.
Correct.
But
Do you think it would be worth, or in your other experiences with these types of surveys, would it be worth the questionnaire including how long have you been a part of the community? I think it'd be interesting to correlate if under a year or under 3 years versus 25 plus. Even in this room, we've got some different tenure. That's the only thing I've been able to think of so far. And it's that's pretty quick. It's a fact. I don't really have to think about it.
I also think, so would you be interested in having a small group conversation about your and other residents' responses? And then we also have, would you like to be included in community forums to help these kind of initiatives to better your community? We're kind of asking the same question there, right?
Yes,
Do we need both of
I
them?
think you can remove one. If we add what Adam shared, we can remove one and add that. How long have you lived in the community? 1 to 3, 3 to 5, whatever.
Could we leave that? I like the, would you be interested in having your small group conversation? And then yes or no, and then like put your email, like if so, email it, just kind of put that right there.
Yeah, and on these Google Forms, it either automatically collects an email address or it doesn't. How are we doing that?
Well, I don't know if people would want to
Right.
put their
Yeah.
email. So maybe have a contact us at the city email or whatever email that we, well, you don't want to.
I'll do it.
She's like, we're giving the mayor Pogue, he's not in here.
You can set it to not collect it automatically and have them opt in.
And then
to-
opt in
Opt
to
in.
this.
Right,
if
that's
they
what I
say
was
yes.
wondering.
I know you can do that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, there's a little toggle where it requires email
Jamie,
address
I
or
gave
not.
all the work back to you.
This is like tennis.
So with the, how do you feel, I think you mentioned that, Jennifer, about those outside your community or city view your community. So are you thinking like it needs to be just like, we need to change it to, do you feel those outside your city view your community as welcoming and supportive, or, and then just be a yes and no? Or what are we thinking there? Because, yeah, that's kind of a hard question for me to answer.
Well, I think it could still be.
A scale?
It still has a larger scale, I think you just gotta, I think it needs to be more specific.
Yeah,
Because,
mhm.
I mean, do they view our community as
Right, yeah.
affluent? Do they view us as,
Mm.
I mean, there's all
How do you
kinds of
feel
ways
about
they
those
can view us.
Maybe you
Yeah.
just add at the end, view your city in regards to what? In regards to inclusivity,
Yeah.
inclusivity?
Do you
Yeah.
feel those outside your city view your community as inclusive, as welcoming, as?
Yeah.
Right.
My mind automatically went to, the rivalry Kearney teams have with Staley.
Mm.
It automatically went there, and the Staley kids were always accusing the Kearney kids of being farmers, and the whole tractor thing started, do you remember that? And so being more specific, I think, is a good
They view
idea.
us as rural.
Rural.
Yeah. Like we all owned cows. That was kind of the idea.
Well, don't we? I'm from Plattsburgh, so I can say. I'm right there with you.
So Jamie, what do you guys think about that question?
I like what Marissa added, shared in regards to the inclusive, I can't even say inclusivity.
You saw me struggle.
I know. I think we can add a little more depth to that, to get a little bit more granular on some of the responses. That's easy. Kind of makes them think a little bit versus just a quick, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm going back to our resolution that Sheila provided in, what is the purpose of all of this? And I think that's just what you need to ask. How do you think others outside of your community view your community in regards to what we're here to do? And just stick to the
Main thing.
And are these surveys coming out from us, from the Board of Aldermen? Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
So it will be from
the city, okay,
Yes,
okay,
yes.
okay.
But a lot of people are helping us get it, but it's, yeah, gonna be like the city's survey.
Okay, the city survey, that's what I was wondering, okay.
Yeah.
It'll just be distributed through multiple channels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like we could send that out, we could send the link out through church,
Mhm.
our church email stuff. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, I talked to Stacy at the chamber. She was gonna send it out. Kurt was gonna send it out
Yeah.
through the Kearney Enrichment Council. We have several ways that we can get it out. All right, any other thoughts, comments, questions?
I do think if I like the language of I like the simplicity of the would you be interested in having small group conversations, but I still think, kind of to Ray's point, I think that to combine them and say to help these kinds of initiatives to better your community, like.
I also, it may be small, but we're having this to talk about inclusion, and it says, would you like to be included here in this question? And on this one, it says, would you be interested in having a small group? I like including the word included. Would you like to be included? So, yeah, I would agree with you if you can kind of put those together. I know that's maybe a little nitpicky, but.
I do have a question with that also. Are we prepared for this not to be a small group? I mean,
I like the
be.
community forums, like, I
Yeah.
like the way that's
Oh,
worded
sure.
better.
Yeah, I see small group and we may show up and,
Well, that would be awesome.
yes,
but-
it would. I don't want citizens to show up and think that there's gonna be 20 people, but then everybody has something to say and we're all just kind of sitting here like deer in the headlights. So, I mean, it can stay there for now, but just having that conversation of what do we do if it turns out better than what we planned?
Yeah, and that was part of the structure of the school spirit deal, was you had, I mean, I think we used every room in the church with
Okay.
about 8 or 10 kids in it. And it wasn't like open mic time with all 200 kids.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I would think that could maybe change and evolve as it kind of goes, right? If we do only start out with 10 people that show up, then that's what it is. But then if we end up building it and getting more, then maybe it does need to break out into smaller groups.
Yeah.
That'd be a beautiful problem.
That would be,
Right.
that would be an amazing problem.
Okay, and I'm being really nitpicky here too, but when I read that, do you feel schools and community members can work together to ensure a healthy community? I don't know if I like the word can, because I feel like, yes, they can, but do we? Or do we want to know if we think they can, or do we want to know if they are? Like, that's just kind of like in my brain, I kind of feel like, well, yes, anybody can, but I feel like an English teacher a little bit there, like say may, not can or something, you know? But I don't know.
Yeah, are we wanting to know, are they currently doing that?
Yeah, like, are they currently working together? Is that what we're wondering? Do you feel school and community members are working together to ensure a healthy community,
I
or?
read it that they're going to, so I was thinking
Willing to.
will work
Willing
together.
to? Oh, do
Will
you
work
think the
together.
school and community is willing to work together?
Yeah.
Okay, well, whichever
That's
way
just
you guys
me.
want that
That's just me.
question, I think we just need to make it a little clear,
Yeah,
'cause
I agree.
I may
with
be
you.
reading that wrong, so.
And this is a good example of where I'm talking about, like, if you get that data point, then what? What does that tell you to do?
Yeah.
That's what this is what I'm saying, like, take a look at that question and ask yourself, what are you gonna do with that set of data? If it comes back and they say no, like, and 67% of the people say no to that question, what does that mean?
what are we gonna
Well,
do?
and I think that's where it goes back to the and why.
Right.
You know, just having that explanation opportunity to explain, if it is no, then why is it no? Why isn't the community and schools willing to work together?
And you have the additional.
And having that additional data to capture, to capture and.
Yeah, I mean, could it be as simple maybe on that one for some of it, for a lot of people, maybe they don't have kids in the school district and they haven't had kids in the school district for a long time, so they don't even know about the initiatives that the school district is doing, right? They don't know about the things, they don't know that you guys are here tonight, part of this. And so maybe it's just they need better education. I mean, it could be as simple as that. Probably not, but it could be. So getting some of the whys out there.
I like the whys.
Yeah.
I'm always curious for whys.
If people are gonna answer it, yeah.
So do we want to change that to willing to work together, or will work together,
Or should.
or should work together? Do we feel schools, community members should work together to ensure healthy communities? Should. Do we know, like, and why?
And I say that only because, you know, the district has been working on things and honestly, if the community isn't behind us, it doesn't work because a lot of the issues we have, it's coming from home. So if we can't get the community support, then we're fighting a losing battle. So
Yeah, that makes sense.
So the main purpose of this survey is to go out to see what the community thinks we need to work on. Is that what this point of the survey is?
I kind of view it as how does the community perceive itself?
So right now, we just want to know how the community perceives itself. That's kind of what this is.
Step one,
Okay, okay,
perception.
okay.
Because that's what, if I was gonna reword that question, I probably would reword it as a Likert scale to say something like, you know, Kearney School District and the community of Kearney are doing a good job of working together
Yeah,
for this mission.
Right.
Agree, strongly agree, you know,
I
neutral.
like that.
Disagree, strongly disagree. You know, like that's how I would structure that question, but
I
I
like-
lean towards like Likert scale because you get really good actionable data.
I like that.
And you're approaching it from a positive standpoint instead of a negative standpoint. We can all pull out a negative,
And so
but
that way, if it comes
it's harder
back
to pull out a
and
positive
and you
sometimes.
clearly get a reading that most people don't think we're doing a good job of working together, well, that tells us something.
Right.
Yeah.
We need to do a better job of working together.
Right, to me, that's the cynicism barometer.
Yeah.
Like, how are people perceiving that relationship? You guys are being very gracious with all these suggestions, by the way. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. That's over here.
So would you suggest that all of these questions should then be?
I'm on, it hurts, if we are okay with that, because I kind of like that now. Just hearing the conversation, I kind of like the Likert.
Yeah, it's a few clicks of a button. It's not make or break, so.
Listen, I'm a Scotch-Irish guy with a lot of opinions and the gift of the gab, so I'm trying, I don't wanna overstate my case, I love a Likert scale, just because I think it does provide really good, useful data, but I think, I don't wanna also completely overhaul this. You guys have put a lot of work into this and
Well, I think it also provides, if we go back through and on each question, provide the option of the why and why. I think if you put that in there and word it that way, people may fill out that why, and you may get a lot more responses as to what your action steps need to be.
I will, I feel like I'm being super. I will say, just from surveys we've sent from the school, when we get a lot of responses back, when you have the open-ended questions, it is hard to go through all of those and make a lot of sense out of them.
I wonder if we need those as much as we're adding the and why to everything.
Yeah.
Or will the and why take care of a lot of that?
Well, I think that's what she's saying, is when you, anytime you have an open-ended, you're committing to going through and reading those answers, and again, sort of determining how are you going to quantify that, right? In a way that makes sense and is, yeah.
And that takes a long time to really.
I believe you.
break down that
Yeah.
data and make sense of it. I mean, on some things, like, what would you like to see change? Could you come up with like 5 key things, and they could choose more than one? Or, these things need to change, or you could even have an other, but then it would at least make it easier to delineate that information.
So one of my thoughts is that, and this really was from the Courier Tribune reporter asking me over and over again, like, what are you gonna do with the Spirit Committee? And the reality is that this is not going to be a quick process. Change is going to be very slow, and so I don't know that we're really interested in making it quick and easy. Like, I get it. I think the school district has already done a really good job of gauging, and you guys have a really good idea of where at least the youth in our community are. I don't know that anyone on this committee is feeling yes, there's definitely an urgency to act and we all want to be a part of this, but I don't know if we need to run the race to get done quickly, because I think we are all committed to it being a long
marathon, not a sprint.
We use that analogy, crawl, walk, run.
Yeah.
We may need to crawl a little bit before we start walking, before we can even run.
And maybe we would get much more valuable, allowing people to, not limiting people's responses might be more valuable for the group, maybe. And that's just my thoughts, and I'm welcome for you guys to say, no, that's not.
I think because the conversations aren't being had, it's important to include the and whys. Because, and even if that means we sit up here one night and go through them as a group, there probably are gonna be stories and things that we're not aware of. And, or somebody really wants to share.
And someone needs someone to be aware of those things.
I think at that point too, during that conversation or whatever that night is, we just need to kind of have a tally of people want more events or people want to have more conversations, and just kind of keep a hold of how many are similar, so that it does kind of get easier as we go along of 30% said they wanted to see this, 20% wanted that, and so on and so forth.
Right, you can bucket responses, you can take those qualifiable responses and start to bucket them as you go through.
Okay, so are we feeling like we want to keep those open-ended questions on there? I also don't think we have them as required, it looks like.
I guess they were saying, as long as we're willing to go through them and muddle through it, that we're maybe at the stage, the beginning stage, where we're really interested in how people perceive it, that we're willing to
add those
yeah.
why.
I mean, that's kind of what I'm hearing, but I don't know.
Willing to get weird.
My pastor's not supposed to say that.
You haven't opened a lot of these surveys.
Okay, awesome. So you guys will make some tweaks and.
Yeah, we'll communicate, send a draft to the committee like we normally would, before we put the final draft out, just to make sure it's where we all want it.
Great.
And so this body, everything that we do is subject to the Sunshine Law, the Open Record Law, and so if you guys as a committee have conversations, I'm the custodian of records, so just make sure that you copy me on it, so that if somebody did an information request, that we could provide copies of email correspondence and make sure that we're.
So just copied on the email is enough? Okay. All right. Anybody have strong opinions on when we really want this out there? Because I think that kind of, our next agenda item is setting the next meeting date and time. Do we want to have this out, done, back, collected before we all get back together?
I almost feel like the selection of the logo needs to be done in a public forum. So definitely we're gonna need a meeting to do that, and you need to get that done, I think, before we do the survey.
Absolutely.
And so I asked Shirley about water billing and like, what are her dates? So basically around the 24th of a month is when she does utility bills. And so we'll want to be able to include that on the back of the survey. I think I figured out how to do a QR code or get it on the back of the survey. I don't know how to do a QR code.
Oh, super easy.
But I do know how to get it on the back of the water bill. And so we would be able to do that, but the survey timing, I would think you would want it to be, and then bills are due on the 10th of the month. So whatever month we do, think it would be around the 24th of a month to the 10th of the following month, if that makes sense. And I have a calendar here where I wrote all the city meetings that are already scheduled. So I didn't know what month you were gonna pick, so, but I have them.
So you're gonna get back and have them start working on edits to the logo.
Yes, and I don't know how Mrs. Carmack will, like, I don't know if she'll say, hey, it's gonna take us a few weeks, or, because they did this several weeks ago, like, we were planning on, before we got this committee official, I was thinking, oh, we're gonna have this sub meeting, and then I was like, well, that's what the committee's for. We're gonna wait for the committee, so, I don't know. So what do you guys?
Yeah, how long would you suggest we need to give them?
Any idea working with Mrs. Carmack?
You know, they can barely, especially if you're giving it back to 2 kids, I think.
Yeah, I suspect they'll turn it around.
Okay.
Quickly, I mean,
Say a week to 10 days.
but also I think you can just give them a deadline. Again, I have no problem with that because that's how it works in the corporate world. Like in the professional world, the client comes back and says, I need this in a week. You gotta turn it in a week, right? I mean,
And that's the idea,
You use the time you're given, no.
That's the real world learning piece of it.
Right.
That's the client connected project. You are the clint. You tell them what you want.
Right. So I say put the thumb screws on. I say put them under pressure.
Okay, so what are you guys thinking, the beginning of March?
Tomorrow by noon.
Yeah. It's 2 weeks.
So if you guys, I don't know if you guys want to wait till April to do the thing, but if we're gonna get it out March 24th, like you guys would need to make decisions in advance of.
Are we gonna be running up against like spring breaks or anything?
Yeah,
The
that would be.
24th is the
that would
Friday
be
of
that
spring break.
Is that weekend?
The 20th to the 24th is spring break.
Okay.
Do you think that's a positive or a negative? People
I'm
are-
just wanting to make sure that we're all aware of what's coming on the calendar because I mean, it can delay something from a student getting the information back if they got spring break coming up and we're not aware of it. So.
Well, I would say 2 weeks. Don't you think that they could get back to us in 2 weeks?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Let's, I don't want to go any further than that, I guess, is what I'm feeling. I don't want to wait any longer.
I think the students.
If we want to say a week, I'm fine with that.
I think they would be excited, one, that
Yeah.
they've been chosen.
Yeah.
And I think their excitement would probably get it done in a week, to be
Okay.
honest with you.
Well, I agree. I think a
but-
week sounds fine, but
I mean, 2 weeks is probably enough time for sure.
I would say March 10th for the logo to come back, and then that leaves them some little time between, they have a whole nother week before spring break actually starts. And then if we all can get back together, we've already kind of vocalized the edits that we want to make to the survey. So the two of them should be able to mesh together and it could be sent out with the 24th billing of the March. Oh, sorry. Yes, the March water bill if it's necessary.
So we meet like the 15th, you're saying,
Yeah.
March the 15th?
Yeah, and if not, then we can wait until the next month, in April, but at least we would have the logo, we would have the conversation around the edits for the survey, and then we can work from there on what else is necessary to do.
Yeah, March 15th is ideal.
Yeah.
Only time I'd say.
Yep.
And I agree, they need to learn what real world's about.
I would not give them that long.
Yeah,
They'll just put it off.
Oh,
we'll
I
get-
think for our meeting on March 15th,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
our next
I'll
meeting.
give them an earlier deadline.
and to Lisi's point, for people that pay their water bill automatically, can you send out an email to them too? Did you may have already mentioned that.
Yes, so if we have their email address, we will be able to do a text alert, like where they get it, they get a message from us. It's the people that we don't have emails for, we want to, we want to put the QR code on the back of that. And then we'll have them at the water counter and we'll do it social media, we'll put it on our website, other groups are going to be sending it out to their email lists.
We can always put it also at the restaurant.
Awesome.
That would be awesome. So not to throw a wrench in this whole thing, I'm gone the 15th, if it matters.
You're gone the
Yeah.
15th? Well, what about?
Like 14th, 13th.
So we have planning and zoning the 13th and court on the 14th, so we can't do the 13th or the 14th.
Okay.
We
I
could
can also,
do,
I can also zoom in if I need to.
What about the 16th?
we could do this, when are you gonna be gone, Lauren?
I'm gone for a while.
Okay.
I'm gone the 15th through the 25th.
What do you guys think about the 8th?
That's fine.
I could do that.
Lauren?
We have a school board meeting on the 15th anyway, so.
Oh.
So you're right.
Okay.
So because of the public nature of the city committee, like, so will the main thing we're coming together to approve is artwork and the survey? Like, could we not do that through email?
I just think about transparency, and you could, but it's not, like, we are inviting these are all open to the public.
Sure.
And how can the public, if the public wanted to come and say something to y'all, how could the public come and say something to you via email?
Sure, and that's part of my learning experience in a setting like this.
Yes.
If someone wants to show up to talk about a logo, like, God bless them. Like, but that's not helpful for me to say, so I'm just trying to understand, like, but now I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well played.
That's valid.
I've been up too long.
Yeah, we're tired.
Is there a Zoom option if you can't physically be here?
We could allow you to join via Zoom, yes.
Well, the night before the 7th, I mean, does that work?
The 6th, are you,
The
the 7th? Yes, the 7th is open.
I'm not trying to screw everybody's schedule, but.
That's okay, I screwed it up first.
That would be better, the 7th, if that works.
I can do that.
I'm fine with that day.
Just getting back.
Same time, 6:30, is that what we're thinking?
Yeah, for whatever reason, and it's kind of a good idea, like every city meeting is scheduled at 6:30 PM so that nobody ever forgets.
Okay. Gotcha.
Makes sense.
I never would have thought of that, but somebody much smarter than me did.
Is that good school-wise and everything, as far as meeting time?
So March 7th.
March 7th?
March 7th at 6:30 right here.
Are you thinking maybe like March 1st deadline for logos then?
I think that's a week, right?
Just in case, you know.
Yeah, I'll ask her. I'm gonna make the request anyway. I don't demand much of it.
I think they can do it. They have a very, we're not asking for large edits.
Oh, I
here.
get it, like,
Yeah.
they were I can't believe that they came up with one, like, they did one logo each day.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It would have taken me a week. Yeah, I'll be asking, I'm gonna reach out to her tomorrow morning, and she probably forgot who I was by now. And then, so the 7th, I will do a public meeting notice and all of that. I will include a Zoom link if somebody wants to attend via Zoom from the committee, there's a link on the top of the agenda packet where this is being live streamed right now. Anyone can watch this, and it's being recorded, so people will have access to view it at any time. And then we'll also come up with some meeting minutes and.
Okay. Perfect. All right, anything else?
I think we're good.
All right. Adjourned.
All right.
Awesome.
Thank you guys all for being a part of this.
Yeah.
Thanks for all your work.
Yeah, thank you.